Opal Inez Ware Johnson, and I'm also known as Dr. Opal. I was born in Clearview, Oklahoma, in the country, way out in the country, May the 2nd, 1932. My mother and my father, we grew up with the two of them at home. I have one brother, and I have had two sisters. We lost one sister May the 17th of 2013. Being the oldest, it was my responsibility to do the cooking, the housekeeping. I did the cooking in the morning, and they would come home for lunch at noon, and I would have dinner ready, and then we would all go back to the fields. We were farmers, and my dad was a sharecropper, meaning that we would recoup the goods. I mean, like we would pick the cotton, and we would pick the corn, and my dad would take it, and they would take it to Mr. Winfield, and then Mr. Winfield would take it and sell it, and he would give my dad a share of it, which was like, I guess we would say 20% of whatever he would receive. It was very little, and that's why they call it sharecropping, because he had to share what the monies that the crops that we would recoup. The three of us, myself and my sisters, we slept in the same bed. Oh God, until we were maybe 12, 13 years old, I would imagine. We slept together, the three of us. And I believe my brother slept on a little cot, like a camping cot, like the kids use when they go out on a camping trip. Well, that's what my brother slept on. And of course we had the blankets, but I was always the one to make sure that the bed was made, and that we had the bedspread on properly, and that the dishes were washed, and the kitchen was clean. We had to take biscuits to school with us, and our teacher, Mrs. Drake, would cook white beans and pork links on a big stove, and we were all in this one big room. That's how we were going. We went to school, and we ate biscuits and white beans for lunch. And when we got home, we didn't want anything to eat, because we had eaten all of these beans and biscuits at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. In that day, relationships were taken seriously at ages 13, 14, 15 years of age. I guess we married to get out of the country. We married to get for a better life. I was married at age 16. Max was 18. I had my first child in April 18th, 1948. I was 16. He was working at the hotel downtown, and I worked in a private home. I was a housekeeper, and that's how I learned more how to keep house, because at that time, see, we didn't have like vacuum sweepers and that kind of stuff to clean house with in the country. So I didn't even know how to turn a vacuum sweeper on. But this woman had an ad in the paper, and I answered it. Mrs. Slaymaker, I never shall forget. She taught me everything. I mean everything that I had not had the opportunity to learn at home, because we weren't privy to those things. Back in that day, the only thing you could be was a school teacher or a nurse. And I didn't want to be either one of those. So I had to work and go to school so that I could learn how to do something else. I wanted to be a beautician. I wanted to have my own beauty shop. So the only way I could do that was to go to school during the time that I was pregnant. I had my second child 5 years later. There were 5 years between the first two. And then my third, Max Jr., came along 4 years later. I mean, we were very poor. We had syrup and cornbread for breakfast a lot of mornings. So I feel that with my upbringing and the way I had to grow up in the home with barely anything to eat at a lot of times, that I made up my mind that I wasn't going to live like that. I didn't want to go back to that kind of life. So I thought, in order for me not to go back to that kind of life, you have to go to school and you have to work. You've got to work, to work, to work.